Are you telling me an owl built that house? It's okay, I only think I'm funny. Hello, and welcome to another vlog of a backlog buildery thing. This one's actually for 2 different months, because I watched the Owl House Season 1 back in March, and I finished Owl House Season 2 in July. So yeah, non-spoiler thoughts. I was aware of this one for a little while in the same sort of breath as Amphibia, since they were both ongoing. And I guess they're getting compared. Like, I didn't see any of it directly, I just heard someone comment about it, but I guess on Twitter there was a spat with just dumb fan base wars, like, oh no, they're two good shows, how dare people enjoy one over the other, even though it's virtually impossible not to? Uh, and I guess, like, they aren't dissimilar, like, minority protagonists taken to another world, fantasy world, and anime references, I guess. Sure. Even though, they handle different ideas and got their own spins on things. And even though they're both Disney shows, they still like visually, I think, like if Amphibia is more like, spring colored, I guess, with all the greens and the nature, then Owl House is like an autumn show because it's all spooky and Halloween and the dead trees. Because like that was probably the most standout thing, or one of the standout things for the show for me was just the visuals of just, I like the designs of the monsters and the people, and everyone just looks weird and cool, or whatever, and or funny. Like I just remember one of the like kids in some of the episodes. It's just like a monster with a mouth, and it sees it like the head is just a mouth rather, like a horrific maw, and they have a father that shows up, and it looks very similar. Like just show's got a lot of silly shit like that. Like yeah, it's cool. The cast is fun. You got the main group, you got Amity, you got the school kids. Yeah, they have fun interactions. Everyone gets some pretty balanced stuff. They introduce some new notable characters in season 2 that also get some good stuff. Like the show's not over. I was actually thinking it might be over. I knew that there was supposed to be like, I don't know if it's being called a season 3, but there's supposed to be like a few more episodes that are longer or something. It's yeah, and the fact that it's not getting a full season 3, I just thought was weird, or it doesn't seem to be based on what I last read on Wikipedia. So I was kind of like worried there for a second there during the last episode, since I was like, wow, they don't have time to resolve any of this. That's because it's not supposed to be resolved yet. It's supposed to be resolved later, and they dropped some shit that like there's some stuff in season 2 that they build up to that definitely could use more explanation. And again, it's not that like yeah, it's good. But yeah, it's a pretty well made, solid show. It's got everything's coming together. It's funny. It does some neat stuff that's not as common in like cartoons. Like I guess in that like I mean they've kind of been skewing LGBT for a while. Like Steven Universe comes to mind heavily, but I don't know. There's definitely some stuff that happens in Owl House that I mean I never finished Steven Universe, but there's some stuff I don't quite remember happening in Steven Universe that does have an Owl House, and I don't know, it's kind of neat or whatever. But yeah, I guess to all right, fine. To give my like I said fine, like I'm being forced or badgered into saying something that I really don't need to say. I do personally like Amphibia better, but Owl House was still fun and good, and I would recommend both for someone looking into get it to watch something, a shorter cartoon that's also pretty recent. Because yeah, Owl House is almost over, and Amphibia is over, and neither were particularly long, and they were both fun and good. So yeah, I'm gonna move into spoilers to expand on what I was just talking about, and that thing that I was just talking about was Luz and Amity's relationship. Like in season 1, the Grom episode happened, and I was like, wow, this is really gay. And then they were very clearly like going even more. I was like it wasn't just like a one-off thing or a little, oh look, haha, tease, aren't they a cute couple? It's like no, they went full into it with like, well, I think like the episode after that, it was like a sports thing that was like they even did a dig at Harry Potter where it's like, oh, there's just the golden snitch that you catch and you win, and Luz is like, well, what the fuck is the point of the rest of the game? And I appreciated that as a Harry Potter fan, even because I do think that's stupid. But whatever. And Amity just like she's not just gay, but she's also a little horny. And I was like, I was actually like, I literally said "holy shit" out loud, and my friend was like, "What?" And I showed him the scene, and he was also like, "Oh, God, it's I don't know, it was just a little surprising to see that." And then season 2 happened, and they're all dumb and blushy and stupid, and then they get together, and then they have an on-screen kiss, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cute." Again, I didn't expect it to go that far, and it's neat. Like, it doesn't just have them like get together at the end of the show after fucking 5 million years of teasing. Like, even just excluding the gay stuff, it's just like as a romance, it's also just kind of nice and not like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the cartoons I was watching growing up where like I feel like Danny Phantom, where they just like they have a relationship with the main character, very clearly like, hey, look at this, but then they never actually do anything until the end of the fucking show because it's a serial thing and it's easier, it's less conclusive, and it just like it teases the fans with that, and they can fantasize and imagine stuff on their own, or just watch the show to get them together, and then they don't. But Owl House, it's like, oh no, they get together before the second half of season 2, and there's some episodes of just them dealing with being together, and and it's good. But I do like the rest of the cast. King is a dork and a fucking titan. I didn't see that one coming. I wonder if fans might have predicted it. The skeleton, I don't know. To me, it doesn't look a lot like King, the big skeleton on the Boiling Isles. I can kind of see it, but not, I don't know. It looked more humanoid to me, but so I didn't make the connection, at least. Ida, very good. The first episode was bothering me because I was like, why do I recognize this voice? I know this fucking voice. Why? And I looked it up, and it's fucking BoJack Horseman's mom, Beatrice, who's like one of my favorite characters from BoJack Horseman. And now she's voicing a not shitty mom, which is great because Beatrice was a shit, and she's a good owl lady. She's really good as a mentor figure. She's funny, and maybe not always the best mentor. Like like they really do the she's Luz's teacher, but teachers learn as much from the students as the students learn from the teachers. Especially in season 2 where she doesn't have her magic anymore, so she's got to learn the glyphs, and Luz is the one who, knew them, so, Ida had to learn about that, and then, they were able to go further with it together, and it's good. Well, of course, with also Lilith, but, Hootie is fucking horrifying, like, in a funny way. Like, the kind of jokes they'll do with him are just, like, just bizarre, he's silly. Lilith is also good. She didn't get as much as season 2, but I still like her. And yeah, I do like Amity quite a bit. Like her shit with her family, her fucking shitty ass mom. Holy fuck. And the character design changed. Like she was already good with the green hair, but the purple hair is also nice. Her siblings get some good stuff in season 2, and her dad, of course. And Willow and Gus, especially, like, because Willow was kind of like zero self confidence despite having like really good talent, and Gus, we especially see his issue in season 2 with other people, but they're like really cool, and they get like the self-actualization, and the the episode with Amity kept trying to protect Willow because she was trying to make up for being a shitty friend before, but Willow's perfectly competent on her own, and Amity wasn't trusting her or having any faith in her, which wasn't good for their friendship. And Gus had a couple of good episodes. Like I was like, yeah, cool, sidecast being handled well. The school in general, I thought was neat just because, like, of course they would stand against the king and protect the students and stuff. Like, the principal is really cool. He's just a nice dude. Like, in the episode where they were, I think the kids, they were not allowed to be at the school, and he was just, like, legitimately upset about that and sad. And because, he allowed them to do multiple courses, which is in direct defiance of the fucking emperor and the rule about covens, that you can only have one person can only use one type of magic, and he's like, no, let's let people do more magic. Like, he's thinking of the students and their freedoms and their, that they matter, and he's pretty good. And yeah, I guess the other reason it was hard not to think of Amphibia was just because it's also, not just fantasy, otherworld stuff, but like evil fascism, where Amphibia was doing its own thing. Owl House was more focused. Like, they established in the first episode where, the Owl Lady is a weirdo who's an outcast of society, and Luz is kind of a weirdo who's being sent to this camp to conform and be this just, the kind of person she isn't. So, they link it more to the people being eccentric and marginalized for that, versus Amphibia more focusing on Anne's, friendship especially, and family with the planters, but I digress. Oh yeah, Hunter was also good, where he just, he gets a nice arc from, fellow fascist who, and, surrogate son of Bellows, to going, hey, this is kind of fucked up. And then having a complete breakdown, but having to build himself up, and he's good. But yeah, I guess I was relieved that wasn't in the show, because like the last episode happened, the Collector's freed. Who the fuck is this kid who just has reality warping godlike power? And like, because he was built up through like a lot of season 2, but we still don't know anything about him. Why was he sealed? How do Philip knew about him, Bellows rather, which I thought it was funny because I don't know, I assume the fan base probably like caught wind of it at the same time I did, because it's like he had the mark on his nose, and in the episode that he met Luz, and they he betrayed her and whatnot, and like it like even grew a little bit, and I was like, oh shit, he's fucking Bellows, because we already saw Bellows and he had the big weird green shit on his face, like covering up that part of his nose. And I was just like, yeah, they're probably the same. And a few episodes, it was still, the reveal was still good, because it's like they were in his mindscape and he fucking knew, and he was like deliberately showing them shit. Like, what the fuck are you doing, Bellows? Like, just the presence and the build up there was nice. And then he turned into a splatter of goo because the Collector said, eat shit. Of course, he's still alive, but I was still just like, just the what's the word? Abruptness of it was just like, boom, he's got, like, he's, already become this disgusting sludge monster. You're the real monster, Bellows. And then Collector just, boom, splatter on the wall, and that's it. I mean, until it's not it, because he's little sludge now, little sludge boy back on Earth. Because I was just worried that they weren't going to be able to resolve anything in the time they had left, but then it turned out that didn't have to worry, because the show wasn't over and there's more to go. So that means they can, maybe find out a bit more about the Collector, because he's definitely like, also a victim. So I don't expect him to be like, oh, we defeated the Collector. Like, he's going to be befriended in some way. They just need to figure out how to get him to like stop being a child, and that's what King did at the end. He sacrificed himself to, make sure Luz and the others could escape. And then, because he didn't want to abandon Ida, he made an adult decision. And, despite spending much of the series being a literal baby, like tantrums and whining, and, he's cute and funny, but that's just, it's good. Where the Collector is still kind of a spoiled child. And so I expect that to be something to be just, delved into. Trying to think if there were any individual episodes that I dug. The build up to I think it was Basilisk, I think, the shape changer, where like, okay, first Luz's mom was getting fucking mysterious letters, then there was a Luz who was already there, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what the literal fuck is going on? And then it turned out that no, it was presented as a bit definitely like spooky or insidious, but no, they were just a monster who wanted a place to belong. And so, it was a good episode. The episode where Hootie was like trying to help everyone and like fucking up, but also helping them anyway was nice. Like, cause he just got like King and Ida and Luz getting cool stuff. And, Ida got her owl lady transformation. It's nice. I already mentioned the Grom episode, which like the dance and was, it's just fun, and the show can look really good too. Like, dare I say Sakuga, where it has the same thing as Amphibia, where it's normally, I mean, actually it's even less like, what's the word? Like, it conforms less to its own style than Amphibia does. Like I mentioned before, I think it was the second episode of Amphibia or something, where I was just talking about how I, was just thinking about how animation factored in. I even linked a post that I read after the recording of the vlog about how Western animation, like especially traditional Western animation, tends to be very focused on sticking to a clear style and, making the animator invisible, that you can't tell who animated into individual clips because they're all made to conform to that house style, where anime, doesn't do that. They do have this personalized, like you could recognize animators based on how they animate things a lot, and that's what the Sakuga community does, even. And so I just noticed that, like, Amphibia definitely have moments where, you know, the animation changed, the style changed, like, especially when she did her, got her cool anime powers. But I felt like Amphibia had that even more, like, even just during the opening, like, a lot of it is, sticking to the style, but then that shot of Luz on the Ada's Palisman broom owl thing, like, that one just, it looks different just the way it moves than the rest of the show. And I just felt like there was a bit more of that, like not a lot more, but definitely a little bit more. Like in the final episode, Bellos, like the way he moved at times was just more unsettling, even because of that, I think. And it's just I don't know, I like the vibe of the show and the aesthetic and the look of it, and yeah. I'm actually surprised I talked as much as I did. I didn't think I was gonna talk that much, even though it's 2 seasons, because yeah, I like the show, but I didn't think I had that much to say about it, but oh well. Here we are. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I will hopefully have these vlogs on time in the future.